Hello everyone, thank you for having us. This is Iggy, and we just first of all want to say thank you to the IT Nation and IT Nation Gives for giving us the opportunity today to raise money for charity. If you've been to our US events, you'll know we always kind of fundraise for Canine Warriors, so we thought it was a perfect opportunity because we like to give too, don't we, in Britain? I'm hoping you're all going to say yes, get out your wallets, scan, start giving money. So I actually brought Iggy home a year ago today. It's his first anniversary with us. I'm with Katie here, who you'll hear from soon, and she's the founder of the charity that rescued him, so he's my connection. Lots of you know I'm like the local crazy dog lady at the MSP events, and he's kind of the reason why. So he was found on the streets in Turkey with 2 broken front legs, which is why he's got a very fashionable slip on his lead, because I get asked about 1 million times a day, is his paw okay? The answer is no, he's not. That's why he walks like this. And he had to come over to the UK for his surgery, which Katie's charity fundraised for, put together. He wears the badge of honour of being their most expensive dog, because he cost them £8,000 in surgery, and he cost me hundreds of pounds every month, still, for laser, all the meds you can ever wish for. If you ever want any gabapentin, come my way, because we've got it all for you, haven't we, Sunshine?
I don't know if you're persuading people to adopt.
Not all dogs are disabled or costly, but if you've got a big heart, there is definitely the right rescue dog out there for you. And we're just here today to highlight that, yeah, adopt, don't shop, give what you can, and let's try and make a big difference for lots of different dogs that we're able to kind of help. We'll have lots of different dogs here over the next few days. We've got Orla, the chocolate Labrador, waiting outside. We've got a little golden retriever currently on the train. He'll be ready for snuggles. I've got some special limited edition doggy stickers if you donate, so please do donate for a sticker. And yeah, I'll hand it over to Katie just to talk about why the charity was set up, and then we'll flip back to how we can all help put towards a great cause tonight.
Hi everyone, and I very much echo Jess's message and the thanks to you for coming today and for listening to us and hopefully donating. So a little bit of background on AFA. It all kind of started when I was working as a lawyer at the time, and like any other normal person, I used my annual leave to go and volunteer in China for a rescue that rescues dogs from the dog meat trade. And I kind of saw firsthand there the suffering and the desperate need for more partner rescues like Angels for Animals Foundation to help rehome dogs that had been rescued from the meat trade and other circumstances like in Turkey, like Iggy. There was a kind of particular visit there. I went to one of the vets in the city of Harbin in northern China to meet one of the rescue's special dogs that had been rescued from a meat truck. Her name was Libby. She had CDV sequela, which is a neurological condition that basically causes the whole body to spasm every other second uncontrollably, and it can really impact their ability to eat, walk, and just kind of enjoy life. But in spite of it all, she was just so happy to see me and to spend time with her and kind of hold her in my arms and feel what her body did every other second because of what she'd been through. I found it incredibly moving. I burst into tears there and then, and kind of in my final week during that trip, I resolved to do something when I got home to help, because if not me, who? That was kind of the whole idea behind the founding of Angels for Animals Foundation. I came home totally determined to found a charity and start helping rehome dogs from abroad, like Iggy, and in the UK. So since then, we've taken on some of the hardest cases, kind of the cases that a lot of other rescues would overlook, whether it be because of behavioural issues or cost. So one of the most powerful stories that I can tell you is one of a blind and deaf male collie called Mickey that we rescued. His owner surrendered him in Turkey, no longer willing to look after him. And I flew out to Turkey to go and meet him and learn a little bit more about his needs before rehoming him. And I don't think I was quite prepared for just how amazing this dog was and the impact he would have on us, seeing how, in spite of his disabilities, how capable he was, how happy he was, like the joy he found in the simplest things like a puddle and splashing in a puddle. It can put a smile on anyone's face, even someone who's not a dog lover. And kind of, I think what's so powerful about his story is that his adopter, Helen, who is fantastic, now, having adopted Mickey, it's led her to have an impact on so many other dogs and people's lives. He inspired her to do more to help disabled dogs. So she now is like a prolific fosterer. She has about 9 dogs in her home at any one time, multiple disabled dogs. She also adopted another dog from us who is in a wheelchair. She's called Zoe. She's from China, and she's double incontinent. And she adopted another blind dog as well, Ralph, who she has trained to be a therapy dog like Iggy. So it's such a powerful story because it's one dog, but it's led to a bigger impact on not just other dogs' lives, but humans' lives, just like Iggy here, who's a therapy dog too. So overall, at its core, Angels for Animals exists to rescue and rehome as many dogs as possible, and make a lot of adopters happy in the process because you get a loving canine in your home. But we also do additional work to kind of end the long-term suffering of dogs worldwide. So for example, in Turkey, we do run spay and neuter projects where when we get money in, we're farming it straight out, whether it's on the dogs or to local volunteers in Turkey we've built relationships with so that they can get dogs neutered and spayed and prevent more litters being born onto the streets into a life of suffering. So I will pass you back over to Jess now. That's why we're here tonight, and I really, really hope we can get your support.
Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, pop by, come and see us. We've got a little table that's going to be out for the whole time. We've got dogs that are going to be here. We want to show you just how brilliant rescue dogs can be and the impact that you can have. So I want to see everyone with their phones out, scanning that QR code. I can't see many right now. So if you can get that out and donate. And remember, like, you've all got companies, tax deductible. You all make quite good money as well. So if you want to share those margins, feel free.
We are shameless.
Thank you. Come on.
Please welcome Dan Scott, Senior Community Director, IT Nation EMEA.
Good evening everybody, and a very, very warm welcome to IT Nation Connect Europe 2025. I can't tell you what it means to see you all here. Welcome. On behalf of myself, Dan Scott, our entire team here at the event this week, and every single ConnectWise colleague watching from all over the globe, we welcome you and we thank you for choosing to spend the time with us this week. This event has been 1 year in the making, and of course is our first Connect event in Europe since 2023, but we're going to talk a little bit more about that later on. But first up, I wanted to talk to you about what happens behind the scenes. So if you rewind a year, what happens when we're sitting down with the whiteboard, with the flip chart? What are the guiding principles and the North Stars that we use in order to construct an event like this? And it is simple. The most valuable thing that any of you will ever invest is your time. It is the one thing that none of us have enough of. We respect the investment that you have made with us. We are thankful for it. And our job, and every single person on the team's job over the next 2.5 days, is to deliver you a return on that investment. We want to make you bigger, better, faster and stronger, both as individuals, as teams, as companies, and as a community as a whole. Those of you who were with us in 2023 may have noticed, the eagle-eyed, who weren't overly refreshed at the time, may have noticed that we are in a different venue than we were in 2023, and that is for one very simple reason, everybody. You would not have fitted. We totally and utterly maxed it out, and so we welcome you to our new home for 2025. And there are over 600 of you on site with us this week. The community continues to grow bigger and bigger. We represent 20 countries from all over the world. That's the true power of a global community. For 52% of you, this is your first ever IT Nation event. First of all, welcome. Second of all, where have you been? See me after class on that one. And if anybody in our first-time attendees, if anyone does try and fit in, and I can see some of the usual suspects in the room, tries to spin the yarn of we appreciate first-time attendees picking up the bar tab as per community traditions, they are telling you a load of old nonsense. Please ignore them and refer them to me. Speaking of bar tabs, ladies and gentlemen, we need to give you a couple of really, really good reasons to roll out of bed and come down and join us first thing in the mornings during this event, and we have just those things lined up. You are going to hear more about tomorrow's keynote a little later on, so I will not steal their thunder. However, what I would like to do is talk about our keynote on Wednesday. Do not oversleep is my headline on this one. We take our guest keynotes here in the IT Nation very, very seriously. We go out and we search far and wide to find the best speakers to bring you the tools, the tips, the insights, the actionable takeaways that you can use to go and transform your careers, your lives, and your businesses. And this year, I think we've done really, really well. We are joined by none other than Mr. Daniel Priestley, double Diary of a CEO guest. The first one has over 4 million views, and the second one clocked up over 250,000 in the first 24 hours. A best-selling author, a serial successful entrepreneur in his own right, with 3 businesses having gone north of 10 million and many, many more with significant revenue totals. Daniel is one of the world's leading experts on business growth. And when we asked you what you would like to hear and how we can help you grow your businesses, you said, I need help growing. We need help out how we can go and meet more clients, do more business, sign more contracts, win more business, and that is exactly what we have done for you, IT Nation. Daniel Priestley, only here at IT Nation Connect Europe. It is our privilege to host and build this community. And during this event, through our keynotes, through our 40-plus breakout sessions that are critically, the majority of which are delivered by you, our amazing community members. That's one of the principles on which this community is built, with peers learning with, sharing with and learning from each other. It's exactly what we're here to do. I'm going to call out 3 of them, please. First up, we have Kevin O'Loughlin and Gary Byrne from Nostra. Kevin and Gary, where are you? Welcome and thank you. Nostra, of course, one of Europe's hyperscale MSPs, just a runaway, amazing success and will continue to be. And they are here to talk to us about scale fast, secure, and win as a modern MSP. First of all, we thank them for sharing with the community and can't wait to see it. I'm sure it will be a packed house. Second up, Hannah Lloyd from Enhanced.io. Han, you in the room? There we are. Hannah, of course, is going to be talking to us about mastering security sales for MSPs. Hannah is in the trenches every single day, helping managed service providers to grow and win their managed security revenue. So really, really excited to learn from Hannah about how we can all go and be successful. And then next up, Sydney Hockett from Evergreen. Sydney, where are you? Sydney, of course, a global leader in M&A. And Sydney's going to be talking to us about why the UK is so special from a buyer's perspective. Now, even if the UK isn't your country of residence, there are lessons that you can learn there and parallels that you can draw. So Sydney, as always, thank you for being a go-giver in the community. And also, someone needs to find out how Sydney is seemingly immune to jet lag, having been here all the way from San Francisco and being totally and utterly fresh. So thank you. Right. It wouldn't be IT Nation without a party. And we've got a couple of them for you. First of all, immediately following this keynote, we are going to be downstairs in the Solutions Pavilion for our welcome reception, everybody. And tomorrow night, we are going to be taking over Putchak. Now, in 2023, we took over Flight Club. At IT Nation, we threw an awful lot of darts, and we hit comparatively few boards. It is safe to say. No Luke Littlers were discovered during the making of that event. I think it is fair to underline. So we are going to exchange the overarm for the underarm as we go and take over Putchak. So who is going to be the boss of the greens and who is going to be duking it out with yours truly for the wooden spoon? So channel you're in a Happy Gilmore, and we will see you all at Putchak tomorrow evening. Promises to be an awful lot of fun. And John Williams there, look, John is trying to find the way already, it would appear. John is like, they told me there was the bar. Where is the bar? Come and join us. So ladies and gentlemen, here is something that you may not expect to hear from this stage this evening, and that is that software can only take you so far. In your journey to be truly successful, it takes more than just software. Software will give you a platform. It will put you in the race. But to win, you need community. You need each other. You need community to learn from, to share with, to show you what's possible, to hold you accountable, to benchmark against, to see what you can achieve. On our own, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the race, we're on the grid. But together as a community, we win. We take the checkered flag, we take P1. This week is all about community, and I encourage you to take the time to build yours. Here's what I'd like you to do. Cast your mind's eye forward 12, 24, 36 months. Imagine 3 things in your business that either exist that don't today, don't exist that do today, or have changed. Those things are what I want you to start your conversations on this week. Those are the things that you can change or you can enact or you can stop sometimes, it helps, that are going to bring about material change in your business, are going to unlock success for you. Think about those because those are the conversations that you start today. When you reach the finish line, remember where it all started. Everything has to start somewhere. So work on that, build your community, because that's what's going to unlock success for you. To be successful, it takes more than just software. Speaking of community, here in the IT Nation, we are committed to the principle of the open ecosystem. Together, as a community, we are stronger. I would like to say a huge thank you to all of our sponsor exhibitors, not just for the usual throwaway line of being here this week, although we do thank them for that. We thank them for being valued, go-giving members of this community. Please, well, after this, we're going to go downstairs for our welcome reception, spend time with our solution partners, learn about them, their products, their services, and of course them as people, because that's going to be the recipe for success that you can take forward to your clients and grow your business. But that's not all. We are proud in the IT Nation to be the community of communities, and I'm going to quote the great Nigel Moore on this one, that community is an and discussion, it is not an or discussion. We are proud to be that community of communities and to welcome these 4 great industry communities to join us at this year's event. We have the Global Technology Industry Association, the artist formerly known as CompTIA, of which I'm proud to be the chair of the UK and Ireland Exec Council, the Tech Degenerates, the Network Group, and the Tech Tribe. They're all downstairs. Meet them, learn about how they can help you and how you can add your knowledge and your experiences to their community. We're also joined by 3 industry-leading podcasters. Now, here's my mission for you all with our podcasters. As too many of you know, I'm afraid, I spend an inordinate amount of my life wandering around on train station platforms and in airport security queues. So what I would love to do that with is listening to all of you sharing your stories, sharing what works, sharing your knowledge with the community. So get involved, talk to our podcasters, put your views and your expertise out there into the world. And I look forward to learning all about it as I line up somewhere where I'd probably rather not be at that given moment in time. And of course, when we're talking about community, I have to talk about our IT Nation Evolve Peer Group community, something that is so near and dear to my heart. And Evolve is 25 years young this year. That's 25 years of building businesses, legacies, careers, and lives. I'd like to make a shout out to all the Evolve members in the audience today. Evolve, where are you? We'll try harder next time. We're going to try harder. 25 years, ladies and gentlemen, this is Arlen Sorensen invited 4 businesses to the farm in Iowa to talk about the greatest event in the tech space that never was, Y2K. What they figured out was it had been an absolute nothing for all of them. And so then they knew the truth. No one was doing it wrong. It just so happened that the right thing to do was not to plan on Y2K and carry on as usual. Later on that year, they formalized as a group. And when you fast forward 25 years, 650 businesses from all around the world meet for 2-day peer group sessions every single quarter to challenge each other, support each other, hold each other accountable, and benchmark against each other to grow. And what happens when you put great people in a room to do just that? It drives a number. It drives lots of numbers, actually, be it growing the top line revenue of a business and simultaneously growing your bottom line profitability, both at greater than the industry and wider geography averages. And we know that through our benchmarking. Evolve members grow consistently year over year. Support, challenge, accountability, and benchmarking, as only Evolve can do. But what's so special about a peer group? You might hear me ask. It's a term we hear in our industry a lot. Why a peer group? Well, funnily enough, our guest keynote speaker on Wednesday sums it up perfectly. Environment dictates performance. Put another way, success creates success. As the great American entrepreneur Jim Rohn put it so eloquently, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. I'm going to take Jim's and just elaborate on it slightly. I'm going to nudge it to 10, because that's about the average size of one of our peer groups. Vision without execution, ladies and gentlemen, is hallucination. People to hold you accountable and drive you to take the right actions to grow and succeed. I'd like to say a huge thank you to every single Evolve member, past, present, and those that will join us in the future, for creating that high-performance environment to allow each other to find success. Happy 25 Evolve, and here's to the next 25. But never mind me, I've spoken too much, as is often the way for those that know me well. I'd like to turn this over, so you're going to hear from a member of this amazing community, the most important people in the room, you. We're going to turn it over to hear about one of our community members and how community has enriched and benefited her career. So as they say in the trade, roll VT.
Hi, I'm Hayley Carter. I am Head of Service and Operations at Sun IT Limited. For me, being part of the IT Nation community really helped my professional growth, because I happened to just jump in the deep end, and it just far exceeded any of my expectations. It was just so welcoming, and the first time I've ever felt that kind of camaraderie with essentially competitors. So the Evolve peer groups have been quite instrumental to what we've done as a business over the last 12 to 18 months. The benchmarking has really helped us stay the course with a lot of decision making that we've made over the last couple of months, specifically the last 6 months. So the combination of the IT Nation community, the peer groups, and the SLI benchmarking, it's given me a confidence that I didn't have initially. It's given me an element of confidence as a leader and as an individual of how much growth there really is to get from your peers and from what is this amazing community that 18 months ago I didn't even know existed. So I definitely have bigger and brighter personal goals as a leader, but also just as an employee.
Ladies and gentlemen, doing that is really, really, really hard. Can we have a massive round of applause, please, for the amazing Hayley Carter? The power of community, everybody. Here's my call to action for you all. Number one, know your goals. Remember, fast forward in time. What's going to have changed? What are you going to start to do? What's going to really move the needle for you? That success begins today. Plan your sessions. Go through, get the app, make sure you're signed in. Go through and plan your agenda. But make time to build your community. Remember that software alone can only take you so far, but community will take you to the finish line and the checkered flag. So build your community here this week. And now to present our vision for the IT Nation community as a whole and where we go in the future, please welcome to the stage Executive Vice President of Service Leadership in the IT Nation at ConnectWise, the man with the data. Give a huge European welcome, please, to Mr. Peter Kujawa.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of will and taste. I've been around for a long, long.
Hello, IT Nation. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of limited wealth and fame. A few Rolling Stones fans got that joke. All right. Well, couldn't be more excited to be here today with you. Before we get down to some of the things that I want to talk about, I want to start off with a huge thank you Dan Scott isn't just here tonight as an MC or an owner for the event. He is our extreme owner of the event. What that means for IT Nation is that for the last 12 months, and especially the last 6 months, Dan has been in charge of every little detail of this event, working with our events team, making decisions on content, just entirely focused on making this a great few days for you. So before I get started on mine, I want to thank Dan and give him a warm round of applause. So I've been here before. I presented in 2023 at IT Nation London. It was a great event. I've been with our peer group community here, so many of you already have had a chance to meet, and you know me as the data guy or the OML guy from Service Leadership. I joined Service Leadership in ConnectWise in October of 2021, but before that, what you may not realize is I ran an MSP for 11 years. When I got to that MSP was doing 2.2 million of revenue and losing $1.5 million. Yes, it was not a fun time. About a year into that experience, about 9 months to be exact, we discovered the IT Nation community. We discovered benchmarking. We discovered peer groups. And the transformative impact that it made on our business is one that I can't put into words. We were able to turn that business around. We were able to grow that business. And in 2021, that business was doing 17 million of revenue and had 85 employees. And it would not have been possible were it not for the community that we are all here as part of. In December, approximately 3 months ago, Manny Rivelo, our new CEO, who you'll be hearing from a bit later tonight, contacted me and said, Peter, it's been incredible since I've been here. The power of the community. This is ConnectWise's greatest competitive advantage. It's unbelievable. The people, he had just returned from IT Nation in Orlando. He'd been part of the peer group community there as well, and came to me and said, I'd like to start a new organization within ConnectWise. I'd like to combine our partner advisory organization, which has 7 different partner advisory councils within ConnectWise to advise us on all aspects of the business. I'd like to combine that with IT Nation, including IT Nation Events and IT Nation Evolve, and Service Leadership. I'd like to have a new partner communities organization. And Peter, I'd really like somebody who's run an MSP to run this organization. Is that something that you'd be willing to do? And I said, well, Manny, I'm kind of busy already. No, I didn't say that, of course. I said, I can't imagine a greater honor. I joined Service Leadership back in 2021 because of the impact the organization made on me. And the impact IT Nation and the Evolve communities made on us, the peer groups made on us, was taking it to a whole nother level. So I can't imagine a greater honor. I have the greatest job in the world every quarter, getting to be in front of hundreds of partners to help them in the way that we were helped back in the day. So Manny wanted us to report directly to him so we could have the resources. He could ensure that we had the resources that we need to take things to the next level within all 3 parts of this organization. And what does that mean? Goal number 1, even bigger IT Nation events. Okay, so we've made several decisions, but all of these decisions revolve around a single goal, and that is, how do we get more partners to our IT Nation events? We already firmly believe that these were the best events in the industry, and I knew from going as a partner to all sorts of different events, and I knew from going now and participating in the events. But we also recognized that there were more and more events springing up all the time. I think today as an MSP, you could go to an event almost every week of the year at this point, and you'd be able to, maybe there's none Christmas and some other holidays, but I say that out loud, somebody will probably create one. But the point is, the challenge on your time is already great. When you're running an MSP or when you're with a solution partner, you can only be at so many events. And we recognize this, and we wanted to make sure that we were maximizing the number of attendees at our events. So we made some decisions. Number 1 decision was we cut ticket prices this year on average 40%. And did it work? You bet it worked. We are up 30% in attendance this year over 2 years ago. So welcome. You're part of the largest IT Nation event Europe we have ever hosted. In fact, if you saw Friday, we sold out. Okay, so great decision in hindsight. Second decision we made, another really big one, was that every other year is not enough. That we were here 2 years ago, and every other year we would go to Australia. The decision we made this year, you'll hear more details about it later on, and we've got an incredible offer for you that Dan will be sharing. We are contracted, we will be back here next year, we will be back here every year, and we will be in Australia every year as well. These are now annual events for IT Nation Europe. So why is it so important for us to have more attendees at these events? 2 reasons. Number one, Dan showed it earlier. We have data. We know that partners who come to our events, and especially partners who are part of our peer group community, grow faster and are more profitable than those that are not. But the second reason is that we have a symbiotic relationship as MSPs with our solution providers. Our solution providers who are here are not just here as vendors. We believe they are 50% of the equation. That without great tools and great services, that MSPs cannot be successful. And if we are not bringing enough MSPs into our events, our solution providers cannot be successful. Our goal is for everybody to be successful. So our goal will be to sell out next year and sell out the following year. And again, just wait till you see the offer that we've got for you. Our second goal is to increase the participation in the Evolve community. We talked about the stats. We need to get more partners into the community. And our goal for the Europe community is to double in size in the next 2 years. If over the next 2 days you only take one thing away from this event, take away this. That if you join a peer group and get involved, you will get more out of it than you put into it, no matter how much you put into it. And second, your business will be more successful. You will grow faster and your profitability will improve. I can't tell you, again, put into words the impact it made on our business. I just know we would not have succeeded had we not discovered peer groups back in 2011. So please take the time, talk to an Evolve member, stop by the booth, learn more about what we bring to the table. You won't regret it. Third, community of communities and open ecosystem. Dan talked about this quite a bit. I won't hit on it too much. I will just say we are unique at ConnectWise with our open ecosystem approach, and that includes IT Nation. When you go to the Solution Pavilion, you will see direct competitors of ConnectWise. And that's by design. We're an open ecosystem. We believe that a rising tide lifts all boats, and competition makes us all better. So we will continue to bring in, under our new organization, competitors. We will continue to expand the community of communities that you see at our events. And last but not least is even more thought leadership content. Up until we combine these organizations, we at Service Leadership were doing thought leadership. Our annual report, our annual profitability report, our annual remuneration compensation report. We were doing newsletters, other articles. IT Nation had evangelists. They were also doing content. And it was great content, but none of us were coordinating our efforts at all. And that changed in December. We now have a great content team led by Brad Scow, who is here. And our content team is focused on bringing back quarterly newsletters, service leadership newsletters, increasing the amount of output of content and relevance of that content. And you are seeing that already in action. Last week, the service leadership remuneration report came out, 400 pages. Incredible amount of data about what you should be, how you should be paying your people, what you should be paying your people, etc. What's the difference between how the best in class does it and the bottom quartile? And today, our first service leadership newsletter under the new structure was released. 5 years since MSPs saved the world. This is our newsletter that we're covering two aspects. You may not realize it, but today is 5 years since the pandemic was declared by the World Health Organization. 5 years ago today, the NBA shut down their season in the US. 5 years ago this week, sporting leagues from all over the world shut down, and everything changed 5 years ago this week. Okay, and what happened? MSPs stepped up and transitioned tens of millions of small and medium-sized business employees to working from home. We believe that this headline is not hyperbole, that if it wasn't for the MSP industry stepping up, that small and medium business all over the world would not have been able to move to work from home in the weeks that followed. And you did it, not only did you achieve that, you did it at a time of tremendous personal and professional challenges. You were dealing with your kids coming home and having to go to school remotely, your employees having to now move to work from home, all the things that everybody had to deal with, and you stepped up and you saved the business community worldwide, and the managed service industry was accepted by business community after that in a way that we had never seen before. So that'll be the first half of the article. We'll have statistics about that, talking about what you achieved 5 years ago. The second half are lessons that we learned from that experience to help you be better prepared for the next disaster, whatever that disaster might look like. Okay? If you follow service leadership online, if you subscribe to Service, and you can go to service-leadership.com to sign up for our newsletters. You can follow us on LinkedIn, follow ConnectWise, obviously, on LinkedIn. If you signed up, you received a copy of this newsletter today. If you're not signed up, please sign up. You'll get our newsletters as they come out. And you can hit the QR code here for a copy of not only the newsletter, but our updated financial resiliency planning guide. Please also go check out theitnation.com. We've updated our website, and you'll find new content on there. You'll find information on events on there. And this just launched. I will say this is version 1.0. We are going to continue to add more and more and more to this as the year goes on. So please go check it out and continue to circle back to it as the year goes on. You're going to see it get built out with more and more community content over the course of the year. Now, it wouldn't be one of my presentations if I didn't bring a bunch of data along, right? So now we get to play fun with data. So we wanted to bring along not only some data for you, but data that was Europe specific, and here it is. This is Q4 data on what profitability looks like today over here. Okay, best in class profitability, 15.4% EBITDA. Average, 20.8%. But there's a huge difference between the haves and the have-nots. Bottom quartile, 100% of the bottom quartile lost money in Q4. The entry point was negative 2.6%, but the average loss was negative 9.3%. There is no reason an MSP should be losing money today. The market opportunity is too great. The knowledge of what drives success is too great. Okay? I'll be promoting my session in a bit, but if you are losing money, or if you just want to figure out how to make more money, come to my session tomorrow. We're also seeing another interesting trend in the data. Okay, this slide shows a couple of things. Number one is each of those lines is a 4-quarter over 4-quarter look. So for example, Q4 of 24 is actually all 4 quarters of 24 compared to all 4 quarters of 2023. It shows managed service only growth. This is not total revenue. This is not recurring revenue. This is strictly managed services. And it's also only organic growth. We stripped out our private equity folks from this sample so that we could show you just organic growth. Why did we do that? Because while our private equity folks are also growing organically, a huge percentage of their growth comes from acquisitions. If you go out and you buy a 10 million revenue MSP tomorrow, next quarter you're going to show 2.5 million of revenue growth. Okay? So we wanted to strip that out and just show organic growth. So what did we see? what's the point of this chart? The point is, if you go way, way back, even beyond this chart, you will see average managed service growth around 12%, okay? Plus or minus 2% of 12%. That was normal historic growth prior to COVID. Before COVID, it slowed down a bit more. Then when COVID hit, we were off to the races, okay? What happened? 3 things. Number 1 was a lot of customers needed managed services in a way that they didn't realize they did before. They could no longer provide security to their employees adequately. They could not support work from home. So it opened up some new sales opportunities. But the other thing that happened was inflation. Wage inflation worldwide during that peak time was at its high water mark. Okay, wage inflation peaked in 2022 worldwide, started to come down, and that's where you start to see the decrease in organic growth. Okay, if you increase your customer's price 10% next year, that shows 10% organic growth in our data. Okay, so you see it slowing down and you see the plane landing over the last few quarters around 10%. Okay, we see this in all of our geos worldwide with one exception, yours. Interestingly, in this geo, we are seeing an uptick in managed service growth the last few quarters. And remember, these are 4 quarter over 4 quarter trending lines. These are not based on one single quarter. Okay, so we started to see a similar slowdown, but we're seeing it go back up. And we were back up over 15% last 4 quarter period. Okay, so you might be sitting there going, great, awesome, sort of. A lot of it, we believe, is based on wage inflation that is proving to be more stubborn in this market. This is a slide out of our most recent compensation remuneration report, and what you see in it is wage inflation, those red increases, those are the top level increases. Those are increases of over 6%. Okay, and you see in every other geo this trend of coming down significantly year over year. And if you went back to last year and the year before and the year before that, you would see that in most geos it peaked in 2022 and has gotten way better since then. It has not gotten better since then here. And wage inflation puts tremendous profitability challenges onto you as a provider. Okay, your largest cost is your cost of your people. So if you'd like to get a copy of that report, we have a special promo code available. You can scan there and get the full 400 pages of light bedtime reading for you. It's a great report. I would also encourage anybody next year, we will do this report again. We're doing it every year. The portal to provide your data opens up October 1st, and it stays open until the end of November. If you provide your data on what you pay your people into it, you will get a free copy of the report the first day the report comes out. We need more Europe data. It'll allow us to do some country-specific stuff if we can increase the size of our sample from an already strong sample set that we get. So the session that I'm promoting tomorrow, I'll be talking at 1 o'clock. Boost your EBITDA now. We'll talk about some of the data, but we'll talk about some really practical things that you can do today when you get back to your business to improve your EBITDA as you go forward.
Thank you, Peter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you. Okay, I love this bit because this is the part where we get to recognize 2 outstanding achievements in this community. First up, our IT Nation Evolve Partner of the Year, awarded at IT Nation Connect in 2024, but living proof that the best awards that you can ever receive are the ones that you still win when you're not there. It's nothing to do with the size of the table that you buy for one very simple reason of we do not sell tables. So this award is all about, it's across the board for how we look and assess and we reward our members. So around leadership in the community, about learning and always being a lifelong learner, about engagement with the community, about business growth, about business transformation, and critically, one of the core tenets of us in the Evolve community and our foundation is being a go-giver in the community and always looking and entering a room with looking at how you can help others before you look at your own problems and how you need help from the group. There was one absolutely clear winner, and I couldn't be more happy to welcome this person to stage today. So IT Nation Connect Europe, please, please, please give it up for Mr. Tim Stock from Fusion Technology Solutions. Tim, up you come. Middle line there, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. All the best, buddy. All the best. Tim Stock, everybody. And our next award, this is a very special award for the very simple principle of we've never given one out ever. Ever. So it doesn't come much more special than that. This person goes above and beyond always puts others first, is a genuine and true leader in this community, a true go-giver, and again, always looks to walk into a room, and the first question that will be asked is, how may I help? What do you need from me? And as they would put and describe themselves, and I will give it away now, they would say, I'm an honest broker. I just tell you what you need to hear. Whether you need to hear it or not, that's up to you. Please, please join me in congratulating and give a huge, huge round of applause to our Lifetime Achievement Award winner, my great friend, Mr. Raja Pagadala. Right, Peter, take us through what is next, my friend.
Thank you, Dan. So another bit of feedback that we heard when we were looking at boosting attendance was we love the opening night kickoffs. It's so much excitement, so much energy. But we'd like to get even more of an update on just what's going on out there in the community. And we said, who could do a better job of giving an update of what's going on in the community than our own CISO, Patrick Beggs. So I was excited to be able to bring over my colleague, Patrick Beggs. Patrick, just so you know, Patrick essentially, and he'll talk about it, but he essentially runs a really significant MSSP within ConnectWise. Patrick's not over on our security product side. We have plenty of folks here tonight who are with that part of the business. I don't think Patrick could even sell you something if he wanted to. But Patrick runs the security operation within ConnectWise. And his background is really impressive. Patrick comes out of government, Department of Defense work, and lives in the DC area, spent a bunch of time in that part of the world. And he also has worked in the private sector at some really impressive names that you obviously recognize shown here. So with that, I'd like to bring to the stage our ConnectWise's Chief Information Security Officer, Patrick Beggs.
Find me afterwards. I'll buy you a drink if you can tell me what that walk-in music is from. I know, sorry, that's what it is. Don't spill it for me though. Thank you so much, IT Nation Europe, for having me. Thank you, London. This has been an amazing experience so far. My first time actually in the UK, so this has been amazing. The weather yesterday, is that always like that? Because, man, that was great. I'm waiting for it to come back. So I'm going to take a few minutes today and talk about a number of things. I'm going to give you some threat updates, but also going to talk about how ConnectWise protects the digital assets that you guys use on a daily basis. As Peter says, let's see if I get this to work. Yes, we do. We have quite a healthy organization at ConnectWise. We have an external-facing cyber organization that is our ConnectWise SOC, our partner-facing services and things like that. If you're a ConnectWise SIM user, SOC user, or any of the products, there's folks on the front line doing amazing work. My team supports those individuals from an externally facing capability, but my team actually protects internal IT assets and infrastructure of ConnectWise. Everything from, we have a threat intelligence group, we have a product security group, and I'll highlight that for a second. Our product security group is made up of individuals who are aligned to each of the ConnectWise products. They're responsible for vulnerability awareness around any of the products, but also when they go through the development life cycle, that they cannot pass go unless one of our product security folks signs off on new product generation or updates and releases, you name it. If anyone was familiar with the Screen Connect event that happened last year around this time, I can talk about it now because it's over a year old. But our product security folks were knee deep in that, working with the product teams, Jeff Bishop's team, on addressing the patch to get out for Screen Connect and a lot of the communication actually that went out to you folks to help understand what happened. Moving on, we have a cyber operations group and an incident response group. God forbid one of your end users or yourselves has a challenge or gets hit. My folks actually would be probably one of the folks on the phone with you and helping you walk through an incident response and giving you some best practices. Also giving you good information if you have to engage your cyber insurance provider. These are fun stats. Anybody can get up and give a cyber brief and talk about millions and millions of events. But it is truly a wonderful merging of people, process, and technology. And if you get a chance to talk to me, I will always lean on the people side of the house. I've worked in some pretty amazing places and have had some I get goosebumps on the missions that I supported in the government and in the private sector. And I'm not just saying this, the folks, and if they're listening back home, I really appreciate them. They do an amazing job. It's a thankless job sometimes. They have to say no a lot, which really kind of sucks. But it is in the best interest of our company and your products and your livelihood. So I really appreciate them. I've been more proud of the team that we've built here over the past 3 years and looking forward to more of that to come. So, all right, we're going to jump into, a bit of a threat brief. And folks, I kind of debated this with my team. I'm like, guys, I don't want to be the generic, hey, let's talk about China, nation state threat. But I wanted to give something a little more relevant. And if folks are cybersecurity savvy and you've been watching the news, this has been this China threat actor, Silk Typhoon, has been making its way around awareness emails or LinkedIn, you name it. If you're if you have a threat intelligence provider, they most likely talked about this. But why I brought this one up, because you could talk about a lot of nation state advanced actors all the time, and it kind of gets a little tiresome. But there's an interesting angle to this one, because they are actually, the recent intelligence within the past month and a half is they are targeting MSPs. They're very interested in remote monitoring technology. So they're looking at folks that have RMM tools. Why? Because they use those to infiltrate and to exfiltrate information of other companies and other infrastructures. They're also taking advantage of some really, which we haven't seen before necessarily with this group, is they're taking advantage of some really kind of some basic infrastructure technology. Netgear routers. I mean, remember Netgear, right? I know it's probably still a company, but they're scanning the environments for really basic infrastructure out there to exploit. They're hitting hard on 0 days, as we have up here as well. It's obviously it's nation state based, well financed, and well staffed. They're not trying to destroy your data. They're actually just collecting data on critical infrastructure in whatever region of the world they can get into. So we just wanted to, more of a general awareness, kind of a PSA, but they haven't seen this type of MSP target before, and they actually, some research groups and some bigger intelligence vendors have come to us and got our opinions on, what they should be looking for. So there's more to come on this one, but it's definitely topical and something pretty interesting. Overall, in Europe, these stats probably it's almost like a weather report, but shocker, ransomware events are still up in the Europe nationwide. This is more of a cyber criminal focus. And I see people taking pictures. I meant to say this in the beginning. I'm going to have a bunch of slides. Please take pictures, because that's a lot of the I'm going to have some really good takeaways for you. Some programmatic updates as well. So if I don't see it, I'll remind you. But this ransomware cyber criminal groups are still at it, right? We all know that it's not an if, it's a when, and preparation is the key. Unfortunately, they're not just doing ransomware now. Last year, United Healthcare got hit with a ransomware event, but they also had data extortion. In other words, they threatened the organization to expose some pretty critical healthcare data if ransom was not paid. So it's not just asking for the money, and then they're trying to cause even more pain in that regards. There is no honor among thieves in these groups, and they will infight with each other as well to expose the data if they're able to. Again, we've seen this target MSPs, MSP end clients, service providers, you name it. So this is not going away. The game is getting tougher, especially with integration of AI into their tools. But we'll talk in a minute. Our defenses are getting just as strong too, utilizing the advanced technologies. So people, my team asked, like, why are you putting a compliance landscape right after a threat? If folks are a little familiar with compliance and privacy, it might resonate with you because it's a challenging landscape to navigate. And I'm going to call out one of our somewhat newer members of the ConnectWise leadership organization, Gerard. Raise your hand. We now have a European privacy point of contact for everybody. Gerard, thank you so much for coming. He's located out of our Amsterdam office. It's enormous for us because the GDPR is something very unique to Europe. And it's a little tougher if we're not operating in your environment. Now we have some embeds to be able to really give more ground truth to what's going on. This is our compliance and privacy roadmap for this year. If you want to take a picture, this is actually could be useful if you have some questions of what's next for us. And in the yellow, I want to highlight that. Ask your account manager for access to your WISTIC profile. That is a self-service portal where you could download your SOC 2 reports, a lot of privacy compliance reports that you would have to adhere to. And it just makes things faster for you. You can get right to it versus perhaps going through your account managers. I know the AMs probably, I should have given them a heads up. Hopefully, I hope they get flooded with the requests. But yeah, there's a lot going on globally when it comes to privacy and compliance with ConnectWise. And I can't say enough, know the rules that you have to operate in. We've seen a lot of on the smaller sides, MSPs get engaged with potential clients and clients. And they just didn't understand necessarily the rules that they had to adhere to and some of the data protection mechanisms that they had to adhere to. So, know your space. We have a lot of information. Just call, send us an email on our trust site. There's tons of information about this in the university as well if you're curious about how to stand up and adhere to a lot of the different compliance and privacy regulations that are out there. So, I talked about the threat, obviously, what's been going on. I talked about some pretty big actors, targeting MSPs, right? We have a security-first mindset at ConnectWise. When I first got on the job 3 years ago, we had an AWS outage. It's okay to say that. It happens. It wasn't our fault, right? AWS, I remember it was a Wednesday. It was my third week on the job. And I hit my team up instantly. I said, what's going on? They said, oh, it's just an IT outage. And I said, how do you know? And they were kind of like, what are you talking about, new boss? And I said, how do you know it's an IT outage? And they said, because that's what it's always been like when we see this. And I said, prove to me it's not a cyber event. And they thought I was kidding. And on Teams, I said, prove to me it's a cyber event. The security first mentality embedded into any type of outage, we had to, it's the trust but verify. Even on the smaller size MSPs, having that mindset and conveying that to your customers is going to go a long way. I don't expect small to medium-sized businesses necessarily to have threat hunting and red teaming, but with that mindset and that understanding of what those capabilities can do, we have a lot of good information. We have a lot of subject matter experts on my team that can assist if you're interested in getting into these areas. Threat hunting is looking for indicators of things that shouldn't be there in your environment internally. Red teaming, it's one of the best jobs in cybersecurity. You call it more of the special ops teams. And those folks we have at ConnectWise, they actually try and break into our own infrastructure. They try to trick our own employees to click on phishes and then try to navigate the environments. Our security operations team, obviously, as I talked before, it's the tier one, manning the walls. Either whether you do this yourself or if you outsource it, just having that mindset. Lastly, what I want to talk about here is if you don't have an incident response plan, well, if you're under any number of compliance or privacy frameworks, you probably have to have one, is to having a basic incident response plan. We have lots of good resources on ConnectWise University for that, but also a communications plan. When the Screen Connect event went down last year, we had a crisis communication plan already in place, and let me tell you, that thing worked amazing. Partnering with our external affairs folks, being lockstep, working with the community and working with the media to get the right story out there. Having our subject matter experts understanding the crisis communication plan, even at the lowest level, so they could provide value and input. That security first mindset. I mean, Peter says, I'm not going to sell you something. I'm going to sell you, Patrick. I'm going to sell you our team. I'll tell you that. I may not be selling a specific product yet. Manny, still put me in the game there if you can, man. But you know, selling that security first mindset for yourselves as well in your business model. It's even if you're not selling security products, if you're not an MSSP, if you outsource everything, just talking to your customers and letting them know that, hey, did you send them a link of something interesting in their space from the cyber standpoint? Could be it's an interesting AI threat article, or I mean, heck, you can share some of the stuff we put up there, but just letting them know you're thinking about that. Having that understanding, ability it's going to come into play as well with cyber insurance and showing that the baseline and functionality and foundation of security in your organizations. It's going to get you, hopefully, a cheaper policy as well. But it really is, it's perception versus reality. Show them that you're doing that. It will grow your business. It will, trust me, it's not going to do any harm, that's for sure. But it is that ecosystem, that community mentality of that you understand where you're at, and what you can do, and where the resources you can go to get help. I always do this every time I speak. When they let me speak, Patrick begs his top 10 security considerations. Take a picture of this. These are table stakes. I would say 5-6 years ago, a few things on this list probably were more nice to have versus you must have. I'll say this wherever I go. I could be at one of my son's football games, and I'll talk about MFA. But please, if you don't have MFA in place, please consider doing so. Privileged access management as well. The nation state group that I talked about earlier has been targeting folks with basic. If you're a Microsoft 360 user, they're targeting basic authentication users that don't have MFA in place, because Microsoft is going to be deprecating that sometime this year. So they're trying to take advantage of basic authentication infrastructure while they can. Again, I've talked a little bit about a lot of the things on here. Can't say enough about backup and disaster recovery. Say you do get hit with ransomware, are your backups in the right place? Are they in the right condition? That is just as important as an EDR. I can't tell you, I could do a whole session on backup and recovery, but that's, how fast can you fail over, limiting that downtime. Of course, almost nice to have is continuous monitoring and threat detection. If you don't have the right intelligence, the right vulnerability information coming into your environment, if you don't know your attack surface, if you don't know your infrastructure, you have blind spots. These are the types of things, more of the holistic security first mindset.
That's fine. Oh. It's sort of embarrassing, it reminds me, I was once in Russia, ran into Gorbachev. He said, Mr. Movie Star, are you nervous? I said, no, Mr. Gorbachev, I'm not nervous. He goes, well, remember how much a polar bear weighs. I said, polar bear? He said, enough to break the ice.
All right, everyone has to love AI Tom Cruise. Believe it or not, that was not Tom Cruise. That was, I believe it was OpenAI's, one of their marketing videos that they created. And it's fun. The first time I watched that, I was convinced it was. I think I saw it on TikTok. That's a whole other story. But yes, I wanted to really touch base. This wouldn't be a 2025 briefing if we didn't talk a little bit about AI. We're seeing increased threat actor attacks utilizing AI. Most specifically with the phishing emails that are coming across are so much more advanced. The tooling, the email security tooling has really had to step up their game to detect these phishes. But also on the deepfake side of social engineering, there's recently some LinkedIn campaigns going on, some fake profiles that was doing a lot of data harvesting and connecting. They do that connecting with fake profiles, so you will trust them, and then if they do send you something, you will open on it and click it, hopefully executing something in your environment. But we're seeing a lot of AI being used, and those profiles are being stood up. And exploiting software vulnerabilities, we're seeing just speed to scale with utilizing AI. It's just their speed and ability to push these things out is just has gotten a lot faster. But on the good side, we're fighting that fight as well. We're utilizing AI capabilities at ConnectWise at our SOC. We're automating a lot of functions that were human-enabled before. We're actually on the talking about compliance and privacy. We're automating using AI that has been scanning and reading a lot of our prior compliance questionnaires. So when these things come in, we can answer them in much faster speed and free up those folks to do some other things. But also on the asset inventory, as I said, the attack surface, right? AI has been a game changer in attack surface identification, knowing your environment and what is the infrastructure and the vulnerabilities that you need to be worried about. We talked about, I've heard community in every of the speaks so far. I can't say enough about the organizations up here. This is another picture slide for sure. Probably some organizations on here you haven't seen, haven't heard of, and I'll call out the ones maybe that you haven't. The Financial Sector Information Sharing Analysis Center, which is an international-based organization of banks, but they have some really great threat information, a lot of good best practices. You see a few of the government logos up there. My previous home at CISA, but I actually worked really closely with the NCSC in my DoD and Intel days, as well as Australian cybersecurity. So a lot of good resources out there. Again, talk to each other, build those communities, talk to each other about some of your challenges this week, because I guarantee you there's a lot of folks in here that can relate to them. And best practices, I can stand up here and talk about them all day, but you're going to get them from each other as well and from some of the ConnectWise folks here. So please don't be shy about asking. I promise this is not a red team operation for ConnectWise. You can actually scan that QR and you can download the 2025 MSP threat report. Folks are always nervous when they get an email from me internally. I promise folks this is actually a really great report. Our cyber research unit just does an amazing job. My team helps out with that as well and provides them some really some topical information. Also, one-stop shop for a lot of our alerts on anything that is, if something's going down, we need you to know about it. Our ConnectWise Trust site we have out there right now about our Secure by Design pledge, and I talked about that earlier about how we do our process release, our product releases, and the requirements that any updates or new products have to go through, how we bake security in, and it's not a layer on top for sure. Lastly, shameless plug about some cyber sessions coming up that I'll be participating in. I have a panel coming up tomorrow. And also inside my mind, which you probably don't want to be, but we're actually going to switch that up a little bit. And Sean Lardo over here is going to be, we're going to do more of a fireside chat, and I really don't know what Sean is going to ask me, so that might be worth the price of admission on that one. So looking forward to that. Thank you, everybody, so much for your time. This has been an amazing experience so far. I'm excited to experience more of London and to meet you folks. Please don't be shy and say hello. And I get the honor of introducing our fearless leader. There we go. Our fearless leader, Manny Rivelo. And thank you to
Hello. How's everybody? Dan told me to tell you, because we're running a little long, that he will keep the bar open longer, so you could still sit here. And I promise not to take a lot of time, but I couldn't sleep tonight if I didn't get a chance to kind of welcome you all to the event and share three things, just three simple things. Number one, right, a little bit about my background, because the one thing about the community that's important that I love is truly you guys are not only work together, help each other, but there's some deep friendships in this community, so I want you to get to know me a little bit. Two, what is the opportunity ahead, right? Like for all of us. It is massive, the opportunity ahead, which is part of why I'm here, which I'll also talk to. And then three, I want to tee up our strategy. So you get here tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. because at 9 o'clock, Jeff Bishop and myself are going to talk about our innovation to actually enable our strategy and allow you to grow your businesses as you move over the next 5 years, 10 years, and evolve the business going forward, right? So take out your iPhones or your Google phones, put yourself to wake up at 7:30, you could get breakfast and you could be here at 9 o'clock because you're gonna actually watch some incredible stuff tomorrow. We're actually gonna live in ASIO. Jeff is gonna live in ASIO and show you what the innovation is and how you can begin to use that technology and that product. Now, first of all, a little bit about my background. Manny Rivelo, I've been here 4 months. I've had the pleasure, this is my second IT Nation. I think it was week 2 where I got to present in Orlando to about 4,000 of you, and it was great, and kind of lay out what I thought was the vision of the company from a lot of input, and we refined it a little bit, but mostly it was dead on because I did a lot of work prior to joining here to kind of understand who the company is and where we needed to go. I've been in this industry for, I hate to say, almost 40 years. It's gonna, you know, it's kind of when you get to, I remember when I got to 25, I felt really good because I'm seasoned. I guess, no, I got to know what's going on in the market. I got to 30, I still felt good. Now I'm approaching 40 and I feel like, God, what's going on? I'm getting a little old. But I've been fortunate to participate in an incredible amount of transformation. I was around when we were all revolutionizing or commercializing, if you will, the internet. Followed that up with the webification of applications and really everything that we do today around HTML. And then, followed that up with the changes that became SaaS and cloud that today are even evoking AI inside that environment. In the last decade, I spent in security. And I'll tell you, I was really proud to see us talk, and Patrick, about security, because unless you know it, every SMB is under attack. You're under attack, every SMB is under attack. Security is synonymous, period, synonymous with connectivity if you want to do anything in the world, right? So I've been fortunate to spend my career doing those kinds of things, and I'll talk a little bit about why I'm here in a second. Now, from a personal perspective, married, live in Seattle, married, spent a lot of time on airplanes trying to get to everywhere in the world, right? So Delta and Alaska are my 2 favorite airlines. I'm collecting a lot of miles on them, you know, but I'm not spending a lot of time at home. I have a wife, 4 kids, 3 girls. God bless them, from the age of 31 down to 19, 31, 29, 19, and then a boy. And then I have a cat and a dog also, right? So my house is full of energy when I'm home, and I, you know, enjoy doing that. And if I love anything more than anything, is I love to ski. I love winter sports. I love to be outdoors, but skiing, which is usually what I enjoy doing. And kind of, it's a way of just focusing on what you're doing, right? And getting away from everybody, at least for the run. And you get back on the chair and you could talk to your kids or you could talk to your friends and do all of that. Now, before I joined the company, there was a massive, I had a great outcome. I was working for a security company and we sold it. And I thought I was gonna ski. I really thought I was going to spend my time skiing this winter. And like anything else, when a press release goes out that was moving on, and I hired my successor, the headhunters called, and I got the call about ConnectWise. So I get asked all the time, like, I thought you were going to go skiing. Why did you pick ConnectWise? You could have picked anything, or you could have spent 6 months doing your own thing, right? Because I thought the opportunity was unique. And the closer I got to it, the more I realized it is unique. And it's different than anything else. And I think there are 2 things that drove my decision. The first, and we talked about it, is the software. We have the opportunity, you'll see it tomorrow, to reduce the number of screens that you, as an admin, as a tech, participate in. And that software stack should be able to drive greater profitability of your business and additional revenue streams of your business. You don't need to have dozens and dozens of vendors. If we could do it correctly, you could have a single tool as a point of engagement and a tool or a platform that enables the ISVs also on top of it. So our concept is to be open. And that's a commitment we have, and we had the foundation. We were working already on ASIO. But the second thing that I thought was unique, and it truly is unique, is this community. I've worked for some huge companies, Cisco. I've presented in front of 20,000 people. user groups. But I'll tell you what, they don't talk to each other. They don't want to help each other. Yeah, they'll drink beer at the bar or whatever they want to drink at the bar, but not like this community. This is a unique community. This is a community that helps each other, drives the success, and you tell each other your best secrets on how to increase your profitability, how you drive your revenue, and there's something unique there that existed. So these are the two things that I hold near and dear to what we're doing, and what I'm driving with the change in the company, bringing in additional leadership in the company, is to deliver these two things. Deliver the ASIO platform to the market, and then continue to grow the community. And you heard Peter talk about some of the changes we're making there. So that's what drove me to this company, and that's where my heart and soul and energy is going to be over the next N number of years as I participate here. Now, what's super exciting is the amount of change in the market. Peter talked about the growth we've had over the last N number of decades in the MSP community. I will tell you, it's only begun. Change is accelerating. This is, if you've heard about Industry 5.0 and what's coming, that you're starting to see the largest of the largest enterprises participate in, and then it rolls down to the SMB or the mid-market and then the SMB. We're living in a 4.0, Industry 4.0, where it's all about digitization, right? This is what your customers, your end customers are doing. They might be looking at data. They're probably looking at new technologies, a little bit of AI, using SaaS services, cloud-based services, and that's very transformational for the SMB. And by the way, they got to do it. If not, they're out of business. But what's coming with Industry 5.0, and you're starting to see it, is cognitive systems. It is truly the introduction of AI technology that'll help you do your job. It's not about having a tool that you type in and it could solve everything. It's about you having 4, 5, 6 AI agents that consider them like, I call them like helper agents to help you do your job better. For example, if you got to schedule a meeting, why are you spending time with your end customers scheduling a meeting? That's lost productivity that prevents you from doing higher level work. There could be an agent that does that better than you. Could reach out to the customer through email, could reach out to the customer through a text, could coordinate the time, schedule it, and put it in your calendar to be able to execute. So you're starting to see, and you will see it over the next 5 years, how AI will help you change your business so that you, as an admin, as a tech, are not managing maybe 100 endpoints, but maybe 200, 300, 1,000. It's just the tip of the iceberg what we're starting to see right now. That's what's coming, and the enterprise is starting to explore it, and it will roll to mid-market, and it will roll to the SMB, just like every other technology has rolled into that space. So it's an exciting, wonderful time to be here, and if you look at the size of the market, it is massive, the market we have out there. I mean, if it's a $4.2 trillion market, pounds last year, over $5 billion if you're looking at it in US dollars, and you see the managed services number, it represents almost 5% of the worldwide GDP and accelerating. So technology is changing everything we do, the way we work, the way we live, the way we play, the way we learn, everything. It's in everything we do. And the next generation coming through is using it even more and more. So there's a lot of growth here, and this market is projected to stay at a double-digit, 10, 12%, at least for the next 5 years. And I argue it's probably for the next couple of decades as we move forward. So it's a great place to be because you are IT. You are IT for the SMB who cannot, with the complexity of this market, of the technology that they have to adopt, they have to depend on experts. They can't hire, an IT shop cannot hire somebody who does desktop support, does security, does cloud services, helps them with AI, helps them with their data, and the list goes on. So great place to be, massive market, great opportunity, and you could see it in the numbers. 44% of that number will go to the SMB, period. And it's you that provide that value to the SMB. So great place to be, awesome market. And the last thing I want to talk about is you either experienced these challenges or will experience these challenges. When we were at IT Nation Connect in Orlando, we polled 3,000 partners gave us a list. These are the top 8 things. After that, you get into like the other category. You're wondering, how do I increase my operational efficiency? How do I drive that inside the business? I need talent. I don't know how to find talent. How can I do more with fewer individuals if I can't find the talent inside that? How do I stack new business, new revenue streams without increasing my complexity of my business? How do I protect my MSP from getting attacked? And you heard Patrick talk about how they're going after MSPs. Not how you provide security services, how you just don't get attacked, so you're not out of business overnight. What is my tech stack, and how do I monetize my tech stack from a business perspective so I could drive incremental revenue to my business? How do I offer cyber services and security services to my end customers? It's a massive opportunity, a market that's growing at over 15% year on year. How do I price my tech stack? What's the right pricing strategy do I go with? And last but not least, for some of you, how do I acquire? Who do I acquire? How do I grow? How do I drive that? So tomorrow, you will see us spend some time on this. We will definitely help you understand that. Our belief is that, yes, software and this community could deliver those services, and that you could help via ConnectWise run your business, which is all, how do you make your business more profitable? You saw Peter talk about profitability. 28% of the EMEA MSPs, are losing money. So there's no point in growing. First is run it profitably, run it to be successful, and we have technology and communities to help you do that. Second is, once you're running it efficiently and profitable, how do you grow it? How do I drive revenue streams? Where do I do that? How can I use my resources? And then last, how do you transform? How do I address those 8 issues? How do I move through that? So tomorrow, again, set your phones. At 9 a.m., Jeff Bishop will be up here living a day in the life of Azure. He will show you the amount of work we're doing to bring the platform to reality. And I will also open up for Jeff and talk a little bit about the strategy as a whole that we're applying and how folks are already taking advantage of that, how MSPs are getting the return that they need to from that platform. So you don't want to be left behind. So please have fun tonight. We'll see you all at the exhibit hall downstairs. But please come. You're going to find it to be an amazing, amazing event. Thank you very much, and I look forward to meeting you all.
Thank you, Manny. Right, IT Nation, I stand in the unenviable position of between you and the bar, which never ends well in my experience. However, I'd like to talk about one more thing. In fact, before I get onto that, the brief anecdote of, by the way, they pretty much had to change the ConnectWise landing page for when you click a phishing email to just say, like, Dan, call me. I am terrible. Anything that comes out, it's like, I want that. And then Teams goes off with Mr. Beggs over there with, like, again? Like, really? The only one thing I can say is, and they've come, I'm going to give them a shout out because they probably saved my career at some point in the line. Patrick's team moved us over to using Proofpoint to filter emails, and like Proofpoint have kept me away from like a P45 somewhere, I think, because they seem to get rid of stuff, and it stops me then getting angry Teams messages through from Patrick, so I'm eternally grateful for that one. However, right, Peter mentioned earlier that we are coming back here in 2026. We are not going to be hosting events biannually. We're going to do them every year. So, because the goal of growing the IT Nation and the goal of doing it every year kind of doesn't work, does it? They don't go very well together. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are not just doing that, but registration is open. Registration is going to be open for next year immediately. We are back here the 9th to the 11th. And at the risk of sounding like Steve Ballmer in that Windows 1 ad, do we all remember it with, oh, there's not this much? It is not. So, look, you're thinking it. I might as well say it. We are opening registration only for you in the room at £99 for an all-access pass. That is valid until the end of the show, and then it stops. And people who are not here cannot buy one. So for the people who like to avoid QR codes and are careful of Patrick trying to fish you when he's not on stage, you are very astute, more astute than I am. We are going to be sending that out via the magic of the IT Nation Events app with the link on it if you don't want to do the QR. And if you do, I promise you it's not a fish. There you go. So we're going to be back here at our home in the Hilton Metropole from the 9th to the 11th of March 2026. And also, I will leave you with, if you want to be there with a free pass from us, hashtag ITN25. We want to take over social media this week, and we want to show everybody who's not here what they're missing. Hashtag ITN25, and then Sean Lardo and I on our post-show LinkedIn Live next week are going to take the best post. And as you might say, Dan, what is best? We will let you know when we know. So think creatively, IT Nation. Get your social posts out there on hashtag ITN25, and we will look forward to reviewing the runners and riders on next week's live stream. So from me, a huge, huge thank you to you all. Plan your sessions, build your community. Remember, software can only take you so far, but community will see you achieve the highest heights. All that remains for me to say is I will see you downstairs in the Solutions Pavilion in a few minutes. We have extended the bar, do not worry. And let's have a fantastic couple of days together as a community. Let's do this, IT Nation. I thank you. Thank you.